So thank you for joining us for our International Women's Day discussion. I think if we can just start by everyone introducing themselves and explaining what you do at MT Finance.
I'm Melanie and I work within the new business team, so I deal with a lot of new bridging inquiries and managing broker relationships.
I'm Ronnie, I head up the unregulated underwriting department and have done so for the last year and a half.
I'm Isabella, I head up the asset management department and we deal with all loans from the point in which they complete all the way until when they redeem.
I'm Marilyn, I head up the buy-to-let arm for MT Finance and I've been doing that for nearly 2 years.
Great. So this year's theme for International Women's Day is Inspiring Inclusion. What does an inclusive workplace look like to you?
So I would say an inclusive workplace means that there's opportunities available to, of course, anybody across the team based on merits. I would say to make sure that there's representation at all levels.
But I'd also think that it's making employees feel valued and their thoughts and concerns heard within the workplace, whether that be on a personal level or work level or anything that may be going on at the moment.
Offering mentoring and education but across the board so everybody gets the opportunity. It's not just segregated by gender, anyone can do any role.
And I guess also the kind of skills, like someone's background in terms of education as well, that's sort of, they're also given a kind of a level playing field within the team. Yes. And what do you think there's anything that we can do as an industry to encourage more women to join the sector? Or are you seeing the balance becoming a little bit more equal?
It's improved in the last 10 years massively, maybe even going back 15 years. But it's an ongoing education piece. So it's the education, it's the mentoring, it's people being aware of the opportunities that are there. So it's not just taking a job, doing the job well, it's being aware of the wider industry. So reading the literature that goes out there, understanding how different businesses work. You never know in this industry when an opportunity is going to present itself. So you have to do a little bit yourself, but take advantage of everything that's out there. To improve your role and what you can do.
Yeah, I think also maybe more females attending industry events, all the shows that we put out there, more women on the stands and things like that, and for the people that walk around, then they know that it's not just male orientated. There's women that work within the financial exactly.
And then obviously promoting those particular women that have been successful in the workplace to make sure that others are aware that there is that opportunity, there is that way to move forward, there is that progression. I think it can be very inspirational, especially to maybe younger people that are planning maybe to come into the industry.
And I guess that's also been the case for all of you here as well. You've had that kind of absolutely internally. Great.
I think I would definitely say at MT Finance we have got a very nice range, should we say? Particularly for us seniors today. Actually, we're heralded and made I think our roles and our aspirations and what we've got to has been very much appreciated. I think there's a lot of diversity in that respect.
Absolutely, and I think even when I joined, that was back in 2017. We had Millie, we had Lenka in really key, strong positions that everyone looked up to. So we saw it was possible to elevate and become more senior and be in those kind of positions, which is great, especially for employees at MT Finance, let alone those amongst the industry.
I think that's really, we've got a lot of people who are kind of starting at a graduate level, so they can see that progression is possible and that it has happened and happens a lot.
I think looking at our teams, it's only ever been run by females.
Yeah, correct.
So
Which
obviously
speaks for itself.
Ellie before me for however many years, many years, and then me. So asset management and unregulated. It's all girls.
Yeah.
Very strong.
That's a really good precedent to set.
Long may it continue.
And so, as well as the positives, there's also some challenges. Have there been kind of any challenges that you face in your career, and if so, how have you overcome them?
I think quite a common one is imposter syndrome, especially being in such a male-dominated industry, and I think it can really cloud your own judgment of yourself and your value, I think it's really important to work at a company where they turn that on its head and they support you and they appreciate you, they tell you how valued you are and give you a position and help educate you in amongst that so that you see it for yourself.
And they trust you to do that.
Absolutely.
And it turns off that self-doubt that you have of like, am I doing okay or am I not? Well, how am I getting on? Am I making the right decisions? It switches it off and you're like, no, I actually am doing okay, it's fine.
And you're in that seat for a reason.
Exactly.
You've chosen, you've been selected to be in that seat.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think imposter syndrome is probably something we've all battled with at some point.
I think quite nicely dealt with here though, that there's always somebody to sort of refer to who can help if you are feeling insecure, should we say.
And again, as I said, the market has changed massively. When I first started in the commercial side of the industry, I was very unique as a manager, being a female, rocking up on a development site. And there was a lot of pushback then. You know, but attitudes have changed.
So you had to really kind of like fight for your authority. So
Yeah, almost had to work 4 times as hard to do the same job. But as I say, attitudes have massively changed. And women are accepted in those type of roles. You know, you're talking 30 years ago, it wasn't sort of thought about that women could actually understand development and stuff at that point in time. And the whole planning and everything else that went with that, and attitudes have changed. As I say, attitudes have changed massively, and it's a much nicer industry to be in, with much more opportunities.
And again, that makes such a difference, doesn't it? What do you enjoy most about leading a team?
I would say so. In my team in particular, we've had quite a big transition recently, and we've got quite a few new team members. I would say inspiring them to sort of carve out their careers as such. You know, each person within my team specifically deals with their own little project, should we call it, and it's seeing them sort of grow and develop, and you know, now all doing a really, really good job. In that sense, and I guess also I you know, get a real sense of fulfilment from recognising and telling that person you know what, you're doing a really, really good job. That's such a perk, I guess.
I guess it's also seeing people like and succeed in where they want to, or new areas they might want to learn a little bit more about, and they find out, maybe say like looking at buy-to-let or learning a little bit more about different projects and stuff that's going on, and they get a sense of fulfilment once they've done it, then obviously seeing them succeed as well. That's a perk.
It's been good just watching my team grow, so starting so small, and now we've got quite a big team. People have already transitioned into different roles. We don't necessarily have individual roles, everybody just can do a bit of everybody else's, but being as big as we are now, I think the dynamic of the team is also very important. The personality, the attitude.
Your team seems to be this real kind of
Loud.
That's like mine.
Seems very supportive of each other, and with all of your teams. I think that really makes a difference.
100%. I think it's important to cultivate that kind of relationship in that environment where people do support one another and they help one another too. It's a very stressful industry. We all have really heavy workloads, and I think the support of your team really is important. It's important to make sure people also feel like you're there to help them too. And it helps them grow eventually.
Definitely.
And to be able to get on and have that laugh, little
Yeah,
bit of a laugh
yeah,
during the
yeah.
day, it just keeps everything real and a bit
Yeah.
more normal and less stressful.
Yeah.
It gives you a sense of perspective too.
Just makes everything more enjoyable as well.
Absolutely.
And finally, what advice would you give to someone who was just starting their career in finance?
I think for me, I've found it very helpful having like a mentor. So Lenka has really played a massive part in my journey and has been ultimately responsible for my elevation into several different positions. And I think identifying someone that you look up to and will support you throughout is really helpful.
I'd also say knowledge of the industry, like the wider reading and learning of what you can do, of all the different aspects of it, say like the development, the buy-to-let, the bridging, because they all intertwine together, and even what others are doing in the market, just so you're aware of what's going on, so you're never caught out if you need anything.
Yeah, totally agree. And it's not just mentoring within the workplace. There are a lot of industries now as well that support the sector that do mentoring schemes, like IMLA, for example, have support a mentoring scheme for the wider industry as well. So it's not just expecting it in your workplace. If it's not in your workplace, you can go elsewhere to get it.
Even LinkedIn.
Yeah.
We've all got probably a wide variety of connections, and it's always good to have that network online and in the workplace too.
I feel like there's a lot of kind of like grassroots kind of organisations as well.
Yeah.
More of them at the moment. Great. Thank you all very much for joining us, and happy International Women's Day.